Hey look, this is my audience. My name is Lauren Porter, and this is my informative speech about polygraph testing. Okay, so just to jump right in, basically the lie detector may not be able to actually detect lies, but is useful in covering a guilty conscience. Through its testing of anxiety and stress, it's able to actually detect changes in heart rate and perspiration and things that would prove that somebody is actually being deceptive or is just very anxious about something, which could mean that they're being deceptive. All right, so for this speech, I actually want to talk a little bit about, give you a brief history of the polygraph and also what it does and some of the misconceptions that people have about it and some of the positive things that come from testing. All right, for a brief history, Dr. R.A. Larson in 1911 invented a machine that recorded blood pressure and galvanic skin response. Now, in 1938, William Marston, who was actually named father of the polygraph, explained how blood pressure could detect deception. So he was the one who actually kind of started the idea that maybe a machine could actually start to detecting lies. Now later on, Leonard Keeler updated the design. He added heart rate and perspiration and actually named it the polygraph. Since then, lots of things have changed and competitions have been going on between companies to develop more complex alternatives and better alternatives that actually can be more accurate. One of the newest developments is MRI technology. This hasn't been out at all yet, but it has been tested, and it's basically to check certain areas of the brain for like imaginative behavior versus factual behavior. Now, the polygraph is basically, it leans on the autonomic nervous system for its information. It has two branches, one of which is the parasympathetic branch. That one controls digestion and the calming of nerves. Now the sympathetic branch, that one's constantly active. That's what controls heart rate, respiration, body temperature, and blood pressure. Now the purpose of the machine is to actually measure the activity of those components. Involuntary physiological functions happen due to stress or anxiety or changes of emotion. So heightened stress levels increase the involuntary functions like heart rate and perspiration. Now to demonstrate this, I want you to imagine you're walking through a really pretty park, flowers and trees, everything's great, you're having a great time, you're comfortable, calm and cool and collected, and all of a sudden you turn around and you notice this 110-pound Doberman coming at you, snarling, sounding something like this. Okay, so clearly, after an experience like that, you'd probably be ready to run. And your heart would start pounding and your skin would probably get all like clammy and gross, but true. And and so that would have a significant effect on your nervous system. And it's called fight versus flight, actually. And so for this examination, they do similar things. They don't let a wild dog loose in the room, thank goodness. But they do ask questions that actually cause you to have a response and cause you to not have a response so that they can formulate a baseline. Now once that baseline is set, they're able to ask actually more important questions and more relevant questions that will determine how the chymograph, which is the thing that traces the marks, will actually how that'll actually work out. Now if it's heightened, that means that there's more anxiety there. If it's lessened, that means there's not as much anxiety there, which can be then thought to be and interpreted to be deception. Now factors are obviously the right questions have to be asked, and examiners need to be trained properly in order for that to work well and for accuracy to be right. The General Psychology Journal found that 93 to 96% accurate the questions are, so that's great. And the misconceptions are that they can't detect lies, and that there's a lot of false positives and false negatives because of tension, and that people can't get over the fact that they're tense, and so they'll actually be flagged thinking that they're being deceptive when they aren't. But a lot of research has shown that that's not actually the case. A lot of times, like I said, people are well trained and they know what questions to ask and what not to ask, the kind of setting that people need to be in to actually feel comfortable and answer questions accurately and well. Also, I've lost my place in the notes. Congratulations. Pretty much the FBI and the CIA really rely heavily upon the polygraph for their job testing and everything. President Reagan ordered in 1985 testing for cabinet officials, and it's been used as a deterrent and also to elicit emissions. So it's really great for probation and parole because they actually can catch minor activities that normally you wouldn't ever be able to find, because unless you're asking a direct question and the answer is no, or the answer is blatant, then you wouldn't be able to tell. So it's actually really, really great in detecting normally undetectable behaviors. So that's the polygraph.